Hey guys, YouTube Warrior 100 here. Alright, and now here I am with another DC Extended Universe review. And now next up, now here I am with a review for Black Adam. So this movie was just released this past October. And like I said before, I actually did see this movie in the theater. So between Wonder Woman 1984 and the rest of the DC films that have been released since then, not counting The Flash since that just came out today. Between the movies between that time, this was the only one that I actually did see in the theater. So yeah. So as far as this movie goes, Shazam, I really didn't know anything really about the Black Adam character. So going into this film, I really didn't know what the film really was going to be about and what Black Adam's powers really were. So I really went into this movie with really just a blank mind since I really knew nothing about the character. Yeah, but yeah, went to see this movie, and how did it turn out? Well, I guess overall this is a decent enough movie. This movie really wasn't really all that terrible. But to be quite honest, watching it, I felt kind of bored with it. This film really just it's really not that interesting to be honest. I mean, it really is just kind of telling the story of the Black Adam character. Really, it starts off kind of showing a backstory of it. Yeah, then it shows how he has been like uh he's been in a induced sleep or something for 5,000 years, and uh he ends up awakening after a incantation is read, and he's brought back to life. And then it just shows him kind of like a showing how powerful he really is. But then it shows there is sort of a conflict in this movie, and it really is just him really trying to help to bring his kingdom, or so his um it's his city or location. He really is trying to just make sure that's really protected, and the villain in this film doesn't really take it over and destroy it. So that really is the premise of the film. Yeah. And like I said, to be quite honest, it really is not that interesting. I just feel that as this film is just really slow paced, honestly. And that is something that I really have noticed about the DC films, is that a lot of them really just seem to be a lot slower in pace than the Marvel films are. They really just are much slower in their pace, and they really are not uh, as action packed and fun as the Marvel films are. They really are DC kind of is going, I guess, for a more a more serious and kind of a darker route for their films than Marvel does. And they really are just their pacing is a lot slower than Marvel films are, and it really does show here. Like I said, this really isn't a terrible movie, and stuff there is some stuff about that does work. The action scenes are kind of cool to see, and Black Adam himself, when he is using his powers, it's kind of cool to watch. But to be quite honest, just you really have to sit through a lot of talking and a lot of boring stuff to really get to it. So as far as how it comes as far as recommending this film goes, I just really don't know. I can't really guarantee that you will really like this film really enough to actually call it good, because you really just have to sit through a lot of boring stuff to get to the good stuff. So I just really don't know what to say to really when it comes to really recommending this film. So I really just don't know whether or not to recommend it. Yeah. But it definitely isn't DC's worst film. It definitely isn't as bad or disappointing as Justice League was. Yeah, and I even did find it better than films like Suicide Squad, and and stuff. And it really. I guess it's not really like as a disappointing as like a lot of the early DC movies were, but yeah, after like the track that DC has been on since Justice League, like how they have really been improving, this one doesn't really quite meet those standards. So yeah, so I guess like this film, it's not really one of DC's strongest films, but yeah, it's not like an absolute like a disaster either. So yeah, so the film stars The Rock as Black Adam, and just like John Cena as Peacemaker, I did think that The Rock was kind of like an unusual choice is for a comic book film. I mean, yeah, I just like I was saying about John Cena as Peacemaker, just like when I think of comic book characters, I really don't think of The Rock as a guy to play them. So I did think that it was kind of like unusual to cast The Rock as Black Adam. Yeah, but yeah, The Rock does like do a decent job as Black Adam. Yeah, I mean the story of this film, it really is kind of like a similar, like kind of like another Shazam kind of story. Though, yeah, this film really doesn't really act like a as a sequel to Shazam, but yeah, I really think that it really is kind of like more of a spin off of Shazam. Yeah, because yeah, this film does like say how like Black Adam's powers, like it really does like come from like the same Shazam wizard. So yeah, so he still does have like the same like sort of like a Shazam style powers. Yeah, but yeah, this film really is not like sort really like a it connected with Shazam. It really is like its own film. So I really do consider this to really be more of a Shazam spin-off rather than like an actual sequel. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like the Shazam sequel is coming next. So yeah, this is really like more of a spin-off. Yeah. And The Rock does like okay in the film. This is not really his best role, but it's not really his worst either. So yeah, so The Rock does like a decent job in this film as a Black Adam. And we also do have a cast member like Aldous Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Sahi, Marwan Kenzari, Quintessa Swindell, and Pierce Brosnan. Yeah. And I guess they're like all decent. Like there are no like groundbreaking performances in the film, and yeah, and I there have like been better performances in like some of DC's other films, such as like a Wonder Woman, for example. So the cast of the film really is just like decent. Yeah, and that really does kind of just like sum this film up. Like it really is just like a decent film. Like yeah, the real problem with it is just that it's not really that interesting of a story, and it's like very slow paced, and you really have to sit through like a lot of boring stuff in this film in order to get to the good stuff. So I just really don't, like I said, I really don't know what to say in terms of recommending this film because yeah, I just like cannot guarantee you'll like the film. Yeah, and I feel that that is really like how people really did feel about it too, because yeah, the film really did really seem like kind of like a mixed reception from people. Like critics were like kind of split on this film. Audiences liked it more, but yeah, I can kind of like see where the critics are really coming from, in terms of like being like very mixed on this film. So I just really don't know what else to really say about it. It really is just kind of like a middle of the road type of movie. So I guess I would give this film probably like I guess I'll give it 2.75 stars out of 4. All right. So there's not really much else to really say about the film. So I guess I'll just talk a little bit about the premise of the movie. All right. So as the film opens up, it like opens up with like how a lot of the other DC films have, with flashback scenes. It like opens up in the year 2600 BC, and it shows how like the king the uh, of Kondag is Akton is the name of the king. Yeah, shows how like he creates like this powerful artifact known as the Crown of Sabek. I think that's how it's said. Then like after like he tries to like after like staging a revolt or like an attempt to, then there's this young boy who's like a slave that ends up being given the powers of Shazam by the Wizard Council. Then he's transformed into the heroic champion of Kondak, and then as he's was then fighting Octon, he then eventually ended up killing him and ended his reign. And then he was like a declared like basically the ruler of Octon. Yeah, yeah. Then it cuts to the present day. It shows how like Kondak is like now being oppressed by the Inner Gang, which is a criminal organization. And then it shows how like there's this archaeologist and resistance fighter, Adriana Thomas, that's trying to find the crown of Sabek with the help of like her brother Kareem and colleagues Samir and Ishmael. And then yeah, then when she eventually ended up finding the crown, the Inner Gang then like ambushed them and ended up killing Samir in the ambush. Yeah, but then yeah, then Adriana then like ended up reading an incantation that ended up awakening Teth Adam, who is believed to be the champion of Kondak. Yeah, and then yeah, then when Adam awoke, then he ended up taking out a lot of the gang troopers. Troopers, yeah. Then yeah, then if like then like show on how like um Officer Waller, yeah, she's back in this film. She then like ended up like deeming Adam as a threat. Then yeah, then she contacted the team known as the Justice Society, not the Justice League, but the Justice Society, which consisted of Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher to apprehend him. Yeah, then as they arrived at the scene, like they stopped Adam, and then explained to Adriana that like Adam was actually an imprisoned killer and not a savior. Yeah, yeah. Then it's eventually revealed how like the leader of the Inner Gang's Kondak division was actually Ishmael. Yeah. Then he eventually ended up kidnapping Adriana's son, Amon. On yeah, and it shows how like he actually did have a possession of the crown of Sabek. Yeah, yeah. Then eventually uh Adriana, Adam, and the members of the Justice Society eventually found the crown. And yeah, then as they were like attempting to trade it to Ishmael for Amon, uh, then it was then revealed how like um, um, Ishmael was the last descendant of King Octon, and he wants his place on the throne. Then yeah, then as Adriana then like was willingly handing the crown over to Ishmael to save Amon, Ishmael then just ended up like going back on his word, and as he attempted to shoot at Ammon, Adam then was able to like save Amon from being shot. He got in the way of the bullet, and the bullet deflected from him, like as like it was established in Shazam. That was one of the powers of Shazam. Yeah. So then, yeah, then Adam then just like ended up like going completely out of control. Then yeah, then he just ended up killing Ishmael and ended up destroying the hideout, but also ended up hurting Ammon in the rampage. Yeah. Then yeah, then as Adam then just like realized what he had done, he then like ended up just like fleeing to Octon's palace ruins, and then yeah, then like he then was like telling Hawkman that um that the legends of the champion of Kondak has actually been misattributed, and he then reveals how like his son Hurut was actually the one that was granted Shazam's powers and became Kondak's champion. Yeah. Yeah, then Octon, knowing that who was invisible, he then like instructed his assassins to execute his family, which included Adam and Hurut's mother. And then yeah, then as Adam like as he was like dying, Hurut actually did give Adam his powers to save him, and then when Hurut was depowered, the assassins ended up killing him, and Adam then just like went in a rage and massacred heard all the assassins, and ended up like also destroying the palace in his rampage as well. Yeah. And yeah, then as he was then deemed unworthy by the wizards, Adam then attacked and killed all the wizards except for Shazam himself. And yeah, then Shazam ended up imprisoning Adam along with the crown in what was like known as Adam's tomb. Yeah, yeah. Then eventually Adam surrendered to the Justice Society after he just like felt incapable of actually being a hero. Yeah, then he was then taken to like an underwater site from oh, gosh, Task Force X, which was like somewhere in Antarctica. And then then he was like just placed in stasis by Amelia Harcourt. And then later on, as the Justice Society like arrived back at the city, it then like was revealed that Ishmael like intentionally provoked Adam to kill him as he wore the crown. Hound, as Ishmael ended up being reborn as Sabek, who was like the champion of the six hypnosis demons, and then he rose from the underworld to claim his throne. Yeah. Then eventually, then like the legions of hell were then summoned by Sabek to terrorize Kondak, and then Ammon railed all the people along with Adriana and Kareem to repel the undead. As the Justice Society was like trying to stop Sabek, it showed how like they were just unable to do it. Yeah, then later on then Fate ended up creating like a magic force field around the ruins to prevent anyone from entering, which ended up well, yeah, and it's also like established in this film how like Hawkman's he has like his death is impending, but yeah, it's then revealed here that if Hawkman is able to make a sacrifice, he can avoid his death. Yeah, yeah. Then eventually then uh Dr. Fate then, as he was like trying to take on Sabek on his own, he then like and eventually ended up releasing Adam as Adam was like in cryo sleep, and then he just like was able to like release Adam using astral projection. Then eventually Sabek ended up killing Doctor Fate, and then it ended up dissolving the force field. Then as Hawkman then like tried to take on a Sabek, uh, as a Sabek was like overpowering him, then Adam eventually then arrived to join in the fight, and and eventually with help from Hawkman, Adam was able to kill Sabek with Fate's helmet. Then after the defeat of Sabek, the Justice Society then like was just like pretty much like thanking Adam for helping them, and then like it showed like they were on good terms, and then the Society ended up departing. Then Adam then took his spot as hot in the throne of Kondak, but then he ended up like destroying the throne and declared himself just a protector of Kondak and not a ruler. Then it just ended with Adriana just asking Adam like what does he plan to call himself. Then it just cut to just showing the title of the movie, Black Adam. That was kind of like an interesting way of doing it, like you know what he was going to say, but it didn't actually show him actually saying it. It just cut to it like showing the movie's title. And that's how the movie ended. yeah but then of course like had like this pretty big mid-credit scene. It showed how like Waller was then like communicating with Adam, pretty much just telling him that like he can't leave Kondak, and if he does, like he won't like she'll pretty much like have him destroyed. Then Kondak, well, not Kondak, Adam was then like just pretty much saying that nothing is stopping him from leaving, and she's like said that like if he does, like nobody on Earth may stop him, but she can send, but there are like people that are not from Earth that will come after him. Yeah, but then all of a sudden, then like the communicating device just ended up being destroyed. Then yeah, then we had the appearance of Superman. Yeah, this was like Henry Cavill, well, coming back. Yeah, and then yeah, then he just like was a just emerged, and it showed like it looked like he seemed to be like wearing a different suit, which actually did look better than the one that he wore in like a Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Justice League. Like I've talked before, how like that suit just looked like very ugly. Yeah, but it appeared that he was wearing a different one here, and it did actually look better. Yeah, then he just then like was telling Black Adam that they should talk. Yeah, and then yeah, then it just ended up like a just a then that's when the scene just stopped. So I'm not exactly sure like what that was like teasing. Like was it actually teasing like possibly a fight between Superman and Black Adam, or was this like just like could was this actually possibly like teasing that maybe like they would join up and form an alliance or something? I'm really not sure like what that scene really was hinting. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were probably think that that could possibly mean that like Superman could possibly like take out Black Adam if he tries to leave a contact. But yeah, there was nothing saying that, especially since Superman is a good guy. I doesn't really seem like he would really be one to really take out um, Black Adam like that. So yeah, so not exactly sure what that was saying, but yeah, it was kind of cool to see Superman make an appearance at the end like that. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we actually will be getting a follow up on that, because after this film, Henry Cavill did announce that he is like stepping down from the role of Superman. So yeah, so this was his final time in the role of a Superman. So yeah, so that kind of sucks. I mean, would have really liked to see Henry Cavill come back as Superman. I mean, despite the fact that like he was like a had little to no character development in the movies he was in. Like that really was not his fault. That was really like how he was written, and how Zack Snyder really didn't focus on him in the movies. So yeah, so I really don't blame Henry Cavill for how his character turned out in these movies. I really would have liked to see where they would have gone with him, and possibly we could have gotten something really awesome with him. But yeah, unfortunately, that won't be happening, and Henry Cavill is done. So yeah, so that sucks. So I'm not really sure what is going to be next. And even if they do get like somebody else to play Superman and like continue on with this follow up, it really won't have the same impact without Henry Cavill, because it just feel like this won't be the Superman that we've seen in the movies so far. So yeah, so it's unfortunate that like Henry Cavill has now stepped down from Superman. So yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, so like I said, like it is a relatively decent movie, but yeah, like I said, there is really just like a lot of boring stuff with just a lot of people just like really talking, and just a real lack of like action, and really like furthering the story for the film. It really is just like spent with like people really talking, and just yeah, it's really not really interesting to sit through. So yeah, so like I said, I really don't know what to say in terms of really recommending this film, because it does have some cool stuff in it, but you just really got to sit through like a lot of boring stuff to get to it. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, if you can put up with the boring stuff to get to the cool stuff, then I guess like you could be able to digest this film fine, and you may get enjoyment out of it. But if you really just cannot, like, if you really just have a limit with like how much boring stuff you can take, then this film probably won't be for you. So yeah, so yeah, so all I can really say is just like yeah, just decide for yourself. Like yeah, I mean, if you can put up with boring stuff, you may like it. If you can't, then you probably won't. So yeah, so I guess that's really the best way I can put it. So yeah, so like I said, not like an absolutely awful movie, but just yeah, it's just like a kind of like a pretty like big bore for a lot of it. So yeah, yeah, but yeah, it still does have like some good stuff in it, and I do still think that it is a pretty decent film. So yeah, so like I said, I'd probably give the film 2.75 stars out of 4. All right, so yeah, so I guess this is all I can really say about it. All right, so yeah, so this does it for my review of a Black Adam. So I hope you guys did enjoy what I had to say about this film. Yeah, so So yeah, and Flash is now officially coming out today. Yeah, I still got one more film to talk about before I get to Flash. So yeah, so I'm gonna be like talking about the next Shazam movie, the actual Shazam sequel. That's the next DC film. So yeah, next I'm gonna talk about that, and then afterwards I will talk about the Flash when I go see it later on this weekend. All right. So yeah, so stay tuned for those coming up. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.